Chapter 377. Knife Slaughter Forbidden's Land 1. You ugly zombies. How dare you block this young lady? I'll fight, fight, fight. The little girl Zhao Linga was full of anger, as if she had died as her own father, and raised the black coffin board to the Kangxia, Zijin, and Brahma Din for a while. Emperor Dan almost planted his head when he heard this, dare to say that this girl was still robbing tombs, while Kang Chon's 3 people manifested into zombies, which made him a little speechless. This little girl really couldn't be viewed as a normal human being. However, surprisingly, in addition to Kang Tia occasionally attacking Zhao Linga, Zijin and Fan Din were all targeting Kang Tia, and didn't attack Zhao Linga. Even if they were attacked by Zhao Linga, they also put the blame on Kang Chon's head. If Kang Tia was awake at this moment, I'm afraid he would be extremely depressed. In such a situation, Zhao Linga was the only one who wasn't injured, and the little girl appeared to be very mighty, raising the coffin board and smashing Kang Chon's trio with a snap. In the phantom formation, Kang Chon's injuries were getting worse and worse. Gradually sensing the threat, his body began to radiate a lavender light. A scorching hot bloodshed was boiling. Crap. This kid is going to enter a fighting state. Emperor Dan was instantly in a hurry. Once Kang Tia entered a combat state, with his powerful strength, the 3 little Jins would surely die. Although Kang Tia would definitely be fine in the end, this was clearly not what Emperor Dan wanted to see, nor was it what Kang Tia wished to see. What to do? What to do? Even after living 4,000 of years as an old monster, Emperor Dan was filled with anxiety at this moment. He couldn't help but curse Broken Dawn's scattered immortal, making such a perverted, illusionary array who would still be able to get the inheritance are. In fact, Emperor Dan misunderstood Broken Dawn's scattered immortal. This illusionary formation is strong when it meets strength. Because of the powerful strength of Kang Chon's for people, it has already stimulated the power of this formation to a complete state. In this case, even if a strong divine separation stage person came in, they would still have to be possessed. Moreover, if one was powerful, as Kang Tia was, even if he became demonized, as long as he ended up killing the 3 Zijin people, he could still break the formation. But even the Dawn-breaking scattered immortal didn't expect that the 3 Dawn-breaking immortal orders he left behind would be obtained by the same person. And the people who came in here were all friends, so naturally they didn't want to see any damage to each other. Emperor Don's brows were furrowed as he pondered on a countermeasure. In the illusionary formation, the blood aura on Kang Chon's body was getting thicker and thicker. He was about to start entering a fighting state. During this process, Brahma Heart was also pushed to his limits and went into battle first, displaying his 8-armed Vira bloodline. Zhao Linga, on the other hand, was still the most relaxed one, not suffering the slightest damage. Although this girl is also possessed, she's not as crazy as them. If we can make her awaken, we might be able to break the formation. Emperor Don's eyes suddenly lit up. He was a Yuan-Ying body, and even though his divine thoughts were powerful, the attacks he could send out were at most comparable to a Jidan stage cultivator. And even though he knew where the illusion formation was broken, he could only stare at it with a dry eye, and there was no way to break the formation. But if Zhao Linga awoke, with her strength at the great circle of the outbreeding stage, she could completely break the formation with ease. But in that case, my existence will be discovered by this girl. Dan Emperor was a little hesitant again. He could trust Kang Tia, he could trust Zijin. But for Fan Din and Zhao Linga, he was unable to be so trusting. Once Zhao Linga had a change of heart, then as a Yuan-Ying body, he didn't have the slightest power to resist. And by refining Emperor Don's Yuan-Ying, Zhao Linga's entire cultivation would be able to advance to the harmonization stage. Such a huge benefit would be hard to refuse, so Emperor Dan hesitated. Even if I don't make a move, with Kang Chon's strength, after killing all 3 of them, he will naturally break the formation. Fan Din and Zhao Linga are just Kang Qiao's friends. Even if they die, Kang Qiao will be sad for a while at most. It should be fine. It's just little gold. Looking at Zijin, a moment of hesitation through Emperor Don's mind. After so many years of getting along, he had long since treated both Kang Qiao and Zijin as disciples with strong feelings. In the end, he was a righteous cultivator, not a demonic cultivator, and could not be so cruel. But as long as this girl moves to a different heart, refines me, advances to the harmonization stage, and then kills Kang Qiao, Brahma heart, and little gold, she can completely swallow the dawn-breaking immortal mansion all by herself. Emperor Dan hesitated once again. The benefits of this were too huge. Even he had to be moved. There was no guarantee that Zhao Linga wouldn't be unmoved. If it was Kang Qiao in this situation, Dan Emperor would have to persuade Kang Qiao to kill him, because the benefits were too huge. In this cruel cultivation world, in the face of huge benefits, even relatives could sell out, let alone just friends. Heh, I didn't realize that the old me, the titular Dan Emperor, was reduced to such a state. Dawnbreaker scattered immortal, you've given the old me a hard time. The Dan Emperor was filled with a bitter smile. Roar. Just as Emperor Dan was hesitating, a roar resounded through the clouds, only to see that, in the illusionary formation, Kang Qiao was covered in an explosion of purple light, his aura rushing into the sky, his domineering aura boundless. His eyes shot out to brilliant purple lightning bolts that pierced through the layers of emptiness and landed on the three little golds. Oops! Emperor Dan was startled and instantly panicked, knowing that Kang Qiao had entered a fighting state. Overlord Fist. With a loud roar, Kang Qiao rushed towards the little gold trio. This time, his power had skyrocketed a lot, and with a single punch, the little gold trio teamed up, and all of them were blown away. Zhao Linga was finally injured, her fair little face, a burst of pallor, blood flowing from the corner of her mouth. What a powerful zombie! Let's see if this young lady doesn't destroy you. The little girl roared, raising her coffin board and smashing it against the sky. Dare this girl think that Kang Qiao was a zombie? In the midst of his anxiety, Emperor Dan couldn't help but smile, thinking, although this girl is eccentric, she shouldn't be that heartless. Recalling in his mind all the things Kang Qiao had done when he met Zhao Linga, Emperor Dan finally decided to wake Zhao Linga up. Just as well, old me being able to re-emerge from the cultivation world after being sealed for 1,000 years, and also being able to follow these little ones through so many wonderful lives. Even if I die, I have no regrets. Ha ha ... Emperor Dan laughed openly. There was no longer the slightest hint of hesitation in his gaze, only a touch of determination. After entering the fighting state, Kang Qiao was invincible, and with a single blast of his fist, the three little Jin people were unable to resist and were knocked back in succession. Seeing this scene, Emperor Dan knew that time was running out, and hurriedly probed out a huge divine thought, invading Zhao Linga's sea of consciousness, using the images of past encounters between Kang Qiao and Zhao Linga to still awaken Zhao Linga. This process was very dangerous. Only Emperor Dan with such a huge divine idea dared to do this. If it was someone else, it would probably turn Zhao Linga into an idiot. Little girl, you're obviously a grave robber. What are you pretending to be an archaeologist for? Little girl, you even dug up your own family's ancestral tomb. What else can't you do? Shit, you didn't even spare your master's ancestral tomb. In the sea of consciousness, Emperor Dan played some familiar images over and over again. Zhao Linga was obviously stimulated, holding her head and roaring lowly. She hadn't been too deep into the demon, and now, under the Dan Emperor's call, she was finally starting to regain her clarity. And after Zhao Linga stopped attacking, Kang Qiao didn't attack him anymore. He would focus on taking care of Zijin and Fan Din, causing Zijin and Fan Xin's injuries to get worse and worse. Boom! Right at this moment, A shocking killing aura filled the entire space. But it was Kang Xia who suddenly took out a long blood-colored sword. The Dan Emperor, who was still calling out to Zhao Linga, saw this scene and was instantly scared out of his wits. The moment the blood-colored blade came out, a murderous aura filled the sky. Emperor Dan instantly wanted to cry. At this moment, Kang Xia was already powerful enough. If he used the extreme treasure artifact grade blood knife again, Little Gold and Fan Din wouldn't even be able to withstand the power of a single knife. Quickly wake up, little girl. Quickly wake up. The anxious Emperor Dan hurriedly continued to wake up Zhao Linga. Time was urgent. The only way to have a chance to save Zijin and Fan Din was for Zhao Linga to wake up quickly. On the other hand, the murderous aura in the blood knife fueled Kang Xia's demonic nature, making him even crazier. And his originally purple eyes once again became crimson. Asterisk, 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 intense murderous intent. Kill. Kang Xia roared angrily. A foot stepped on Zijin's chest and slowly raised his blood knife. Still not wake up, Emperor Dan shouted, as if a thunderclap, resounding in Zhao Linga's mind. And instantly her sea of consciousness burst, familiar memories once again, surging to her heart, and her originally red eyes regained their clarity.